Hi Black Pen Repen, I have a suggestion for a question for you to feature in a future video. Find all the real solutions to the equation absolute value of x squared minus 2 absolute value of x is equal to 1. In case if you're wondering, it's the very last question of an old university entrance exam in Sweden. Okay, let's have a look. First, notice that we have this absolute value being isolated and that's equal to a positive number. So we can first proceed by getting rid of the absolute value. But we have to consider two cases. First case, this inside, x squared minus 2 absolute value of x, it's equal to positive 1. And the second case, you just negate the right hand side. So x squared minus 2 absolute value of x, it's equal to negative 1. Now imagine if this was equal to a negative number. In fact, it's very easy because it's just no solution at all. But anyways, if it's a positive number, you consider two cases. How do we continue next though? Here we have absolute value of x and this is x squared. So it seems like they are not kind of the same, right? In fact, it's actually not bad at all. Note, x squared, in fact, it's the same as absolute value of x squared because this is never negative, so it's that, right? And in fact, I can put the absolute value inside. Check this out. Absolute value of x like this and then square. They are all the same. So you can actually attach the absolute value around here. So I'm going to do that right here. Absolute value of x and then square. And notice that we have absolute value of x to the first power. So in fact, this is going to be a quadratic equation, but in terms of absolute value of x. It's really the same, I'll tell you that. And if you subtract 1 to both sides, it's not factorable, so I will complete the square. So I'll leave a space, and this is equal to 1. Now, this square minus 2 absolute value, right? So what do I do is, since this coefficient is 1, I take half of this coefficient, I take half of this number, half of negative 2 is negative 1, and square that, which is 1. So add 1 to both sides. So this right here is now a perfect square. Factor, you get absolute value of x minus 1 and then square. Very nice. And that is equal to 2. And then do the usual business. Take the square roots to both sides, plus or minus, cancel this. So we get absolute value of x minus 1, but I can add 1 to the other side. So that's equal to 1 plus or minus square root of 2. Now, be super careful. Absolute value of x can never end up with a negative result. Square root of 2 is bigger than 1, so if you do 1 minus square root of 2, it will be negative. So you have to get rid of the negative here. And then, once again, we are going to get rid of the absolute value. And then just negate. Consider two cases. So here, we actually have two answers. X is equal to plus or minus 1 plus square root of 2. So we have two answers from here. Now, this right here, same thing. I am going to attach absolute value around the x. So this is a quadratic in terms of x, in terms of absolute value of x. And then I will complete the square. You don't have to just add 1 to both sides. Yeah. You don't have to complete the square, just factor it. Factor it, you get absolute value of x minus 1, square is equal to 0. And that means absolute value of x minus 1 is equal to 0. Absolute value of x is equal to 1. X is equal to, let's do this again. Plus or minus. Yeah, plus or minus 1. So here we have it, 4 answers. 2 from here, and then plus or minus 1 from here. That's it.